Why peace? The world will tell you this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs. But 7 billion people on the face of this earth are crying out for one thing and one thing alone, and that is peace. And peace is not the absence of war. I travel not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Raowatt has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
Buenos dias, shalom, buongiorno, guten tag, bonsoir Montreal. I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
In June 2010, Prem Raowatt was invited to speak at a prestigious event at Parliament House in Brussels by Mr. Gianni Pittella, the first Vice President of the European Parliament. The State Secretary of the Union State of Russia and Belarus, Mr. Pavel Borodin, was also invited to speak in relation to his humanitarian efforts in Russia and Belarus. The Vice President introduced the guest of honour, Mr. Prem Raowatt. In his introduction, Mr. Pittella spoke of the importance and value of peace for each individual, saying, "Prem Raowatt describes peace as a fundamental necessity in every person's life. Peace is a well-established reality in every human being and is the founding element of any social relationship. This perspective, which puts the individual back at the centre, is very much at home with the European culture and presents a real possibility for change." 350 guests attended the occasion, including a Russian delegation, members of parliament, officials and invited guests from all over Europe and the United States.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. State Secretary, honorable members of the European Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard a lot from both of our speakers, and I have a few things to say. They are very simple in nature. I'm a person who believes that it's okay to talk about peace. It's good to talk about peace. It's better to feel it. It's okay to talk about human progress. It's better to actually have it. Long time ago, human beings showed a particular trait. And this trait was to better themselves. They could have been still living in caves, but a little more than that, to make something beautiful to live in. They could have been sleeping on trees. They could have been wearing still the leather clads. But there is a human trait to improve, to better ourselves. And in this spirit of bettering ourselves, not only externally, but there is a fundamental need to better ourselves from within. From our heart. Not only from our mind, but from our heart. Not only in ideas, but in reality. This is who we are. These are the genes, the ideas, the things that have shaped us to the point that we are today. One other thing. We have always been concerned about our future.
Мы всегда беспокоились о нашем будущем.
As we long time ago transitioned from trees to caves,
Давным-давно, когда мы пришли с деревьев,
we wondered what will happen to
думали,
us.
а что с нами дальше будет?
And today, after all the changes that we see today,
Сегодня, после всех изменений, которые мы видим,
we still question our future.
мы все равно немножко смущаемся, что же будет.
What
Наверное,
will
будущее.
happen to us?
Что с нами будет?
There are people who say that earth will be destroyed.
Есть люди, которые говорят, что Земля разрушится.
And when we hear that, we feel concerned.
Когда мы слышим, конечно, мы озабочены.
It's natural.
Это естественно.
Right now, in the economic situation of the world,
В
almost,
экономическом положении в мире
there are people who are wondering what's going to happen to them. Wars continue.
войны продолжаются.
Reasons are declared.
Разные причины для их поведения.
Justifications are thrown out.
Новые оправдания, видимо, этих войн.
Innocent women and children
А беззащитные
are
женщины
killed.
и дети умирают.
For what?
А почему? За что? Что они так делают?
For reasons,
Да?
for explanations,
Из-за каких-то объяснений.
for ideas, for ideals
Беззащитные люди,
that people have created.
которые создали люди же.
In my opinion, the ideal should be to have peace on this
Я
earth,
считаю, что идеал – это добиться мира на земле,
where people feel and celebrate having peace.
когда люди чувствуют, что мир есть и радуются этому.
We talk about prosperity.
Мы говорим о щедрости, о духе.
In my formula,
В моем,
and this is only because I have observed it,
потому что я сам это видел.
prosperity without peace is chaos.
Благополучие без мира – это ничто.
Chaos.
Просто хаос.
Everybody is wondering what is going on.
Все думают, что же происходит.
I mean, isn't just a few years ago everything was wonderful?
Когда ничего не было, кризис, все было здорово.
Everybody was proud. Yes, the economy, yes, the economy, yes, the economy. And then all of a sudden,
Успехами, а сейчас
prosperity without peace leads to chaos.
говорят, что благополучие без мира – это
If we want to avoid this chaos,
если мы хотим избежать хаоса,
then we have to work on what peace really is.
нам надо понять, что же такое мир.
That peace is not a monastery.
Мир – это не какой-то монстр.
That peace is not absence of noise. That peace is not absence of war.
Мир – это никогда нет войны, это не какой-то
Peace is not a declaration.
не какая-то декларация.
Peace is a fundamental human need that needs to be felt from within.
Мир – то, что можно почувствовать изнутри, это основополагающее.
And I'm paraphrasing the United Nations Charter,
Я перефразирую,
that it is in the minds of men, of human beings,
говорят, что
that the wars are created. That's where it comes from.
войны не возникают на пустом месте, их придумывают люди.
And I just want to add this much, that it is from the hearts of the human beings that peace will be created.
И именно из сердца должно это понимание, что мир
When there is a simple recognition of one another, that we may look different, that we may speak different,
мы можем на разных языках говорить,
but we have the same fundamental needs
но у нас одни и те же потребности,
that we share
которые мы разделяем.
this place called planet Earth.
Планета Земля, где место, где мы живем.
Look at it.
Смотрите на нее.
One example that I like to use quite a bit
Я
is that a few years ago, quite a few years ago, the scientists wanted to search the space to make sure there was nobody else out there. So they sent a probe with all the things from Earth, and they also installed antennas, giant farms of antennas to listen in the outer space for any signs of life. Now, I'm not saying that there is no life out there. I don't know. But I can tell you this. They have searched an awful lot of space. Millions and millions and millions and millions of miles of outer space. And I have news for you. Guess what? It's just us. Just us. We need to understand the importance of getting to live along with each other. With each other's differences. Everybody doesn't have to become just like me. To welcome the differences. To accept the differences. Whether they be in culture or be it in language. A lot of people say, all the big differences in language. But do you realize, I speak 2 languages, and I know that what you say in English, you can say in Hindi. It's not any different. You just say it differently. It's different words, different voices are made. But the meaning is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Not too long ago, my wife and I were blessed with a grandson. And he's just barely 5 months old. And he likes to talk. Of course, he can't speak a word, but he likes to talk. And he makes noises. But there is a way he communicates. And I was thinking about it last night. It is the most powerful form of communication. When he's happy, he smiles. Do you know who taught him that? Wasn't me. Wasn't his mama. Wasn't his daddy. Wasn't any instructions that he read. When you are happy, smile. We are part of a much greater world than we realize. Much more fundamental things are afoot here. And amongst those fundamental things is the need and desire for peace. So like I said, it is good to talk about peace. It's better to feel peace. It's good to talk about food, but it is better to eat food. It is okay to talk about water, but it is better to drink the water. So, people ask me, if you think peace is so simple, how come we don't have peace on this earth? It's a very important question. Because everybody has their own interpretation of what peace is. We don't recognize peace as universal as the sun. We don't recognize peace as fundamental as water.
Нигде не записано, что мир так
We don't recognize peace as essential as the air.
это так же важно, как воздух.
What we are busy doing, and this is another thing that as human beings we are very good at.
Но мы столько всего делаем, зато столько нас дел.
Whenever we can't find what we are searching for,
Мы так и не понимаем, зачем наша жизнь, что же мы ищем.
we immediately start defining it.
Но уже пытаемся какие-то определения найти.
And our definitions are our expectations of what we are looking
Это
for.
наше ожидание того, что мы ищем. И понимание ожидания.
When we cannot find God,
Когда мы не можем найти Бога,
we start defining God,
мы начинаем давать ему определение. Не знаем, что
imagining what God will be. You don't have to imagine a mountain. It's there, you can see it, you can touch it, you can look at it, you can map it, you can get a GPS location of it.
даже спутниковую навигацию сделать местность.
This is what happens. Because we don't have peace, we define peace.
Потому что мы не имеем мира, мы его определяем. Даем ему
And
определение.
everybody who can define has gotten on the bandwagon of definitions.
И каждый имеет целую...
So what do? We argue.
Мы спорим друг с другом.
Instead of coming together, we argue.
Вместо того, чтобы
What is peace? How will peace be?
как он будет установлен.
We fight with each other. Do you know?
Чуть не до драки доходит.
There has been a war going on amongst the people who love God for a longer period of time than you can imagine.
Боролись из-за того, что кто-то больше
And they all love
любил Бога, чем другие.
one God. But they fight about their version of who God is. Are we doing the same thing with peace? Are we fracturing the necessity that we have in our lives for peace by giving it definitions? Or are we accepting the simple principles that peace is a real need and it will be felt not in thought but in the heart of every human being? Every human being, that has to be the target.
Многие, каждая человеческая личность, это должна быть цель.
There are people who give 5 reasons, 6 reasons, 7 reasons, 10 reasons of why there cannot be peace on this earth.
Многие придут 1000 примеров, почему нельзя добиться мира на земле.
I have 6.5 billion reasons why there should be peace on this earth. Not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Против 6,5 миллиардов, против 3, 5, 4 причин.
This is the time when the nations need to come together. Because remember,
Нациям объединиться.
it is those kings and those rulers in whose rule peace reigned that were considered the most successful rulers.
Помните, к тем временам,
And
когда самые
prosperity
успешные правители
followed.
пытались создать мир на земле. Надо помнить об этом.
It seems to me prosperity loves peace,
Мне кажется, что благополучие
create peace, and prosperity seems to come right along and make its stage and dance for everyone concerned.
общий мир даже в противоречие входит иной раз.
These are not impossible dreams. These are realities that can be had.
Это реально
If we
добиться, но для этого нужно много сделать.
can make such a mess out of this earth, if we have that much power, then certainly we have enough power to bring peace on this earth too.
Возможности, чтобы
Question remains whether it is something that we want to do or not, because peace begins with every one of you.
Мир начинается с каждого из вас.
When you look at a city at night, you see it lit up, a whole area that is lit up. But don't forget, it is individual bulbs that are actually in action, making that scene look the way it looks. Individual bulbs.
Все начинается с маленьких квартир, с маленьких окон.
It is individual human beings who need the peace. It is individual human beings
Рождается в мире по отдельности.
in whom the desire resides. And it is on the individual human being stage that the peace needs to dance.
Каждому нужен свой мир.
Is it possible?
Можно ли добиться этого?
This one doesn't require a prayer.
Это не требуется ничего сверхъестественного.
This one requires an understanding.
Нужно только понимание.
This one does not require a wish. This one requires determination. This one does not require definitions. This one requires clarity.
Нужна ясность.
That if we can go to the moon, it should certainly be possible
Лететь на
to
Луну
reach
невозможно.
the shortest distance there is from one to one's heart.
Это из одного к сердцу в другое.
From one to one's heart and feel that joy that exists inside of us.
Это радость, которая в каждом из нас находится.
Determination, understanding, and clarity have to be the fundamental foundations on which this palace will be built.
В которых мы построим наш дворец мира.
Not exclusion, but inclusion.
Не исключение, а всеобщее объединение.
When our measurements are going to be for the similarity and not the differences, that is the day we begin to lay the foundation for peace in this world.
Тогда мир будет в мире.
Who will benefit? We will benefit.
Будет выигрыш, и мы будем
Our future generations will benefit. Their children and grandchildren will benefit.
внуки, правнуки.
A place they can proudly call their own, not in terms of house,
Они могут весь мир назвать своим.
but as a citizen of this planet,
Это
Earth,
гражданин планеты Земля.
which unquestionably
Абсолютно несомненно.
is the rarest thing around for miles and miles
Самое редкое
and miles
чувство.
and miles. I always find it a great honor
Для меня большая честь.
to be in the company of those people who are interested in peace,
Заинтересованы в этом.
because they forge the way ahead
Потому что они
to the possibilities of peace
создать мир
for everyone
для каждого
on this.
на этой земле.
It's been my great honor to be invited
Большая честь быть приглашенным сюда,
to the European Parliament,
в парламент.
to have the pleasure to be able to say a few words about the peace.
Счастье.
I have a very, very strong feeling that if we really want to, this can be done.
Это первый.
It will not be one person. It is too easy to say one person will do it. No, it will be all of us. It is all our responsibilities, because it is all of us that need peace, not just our neighbor, all of us. Thank you very much, and may peace come one day to all of us. Thank you.